Spring is upon us. I'm still kind of waiting in the UK for the weather to settle down when I'm making this video, but I'm really excited about wearing some of my more floral perfumes, which I just don't wear really during autumn and winter. So what I've done here is I've chosen a selection that I don't necessarily talk about all the time, although some of these obviously are some of my faves. But if you're interested in even more, my video that I did recently on the White Lotus inspired perfumes to take on vacation, a lot of the perfumes in that, like especially like the diptyque ones and the Toka ones, those are also perfect for spring and rolling into summer. But I wanted to choose a different selection this time. Let's start with something obvious, a cherry blossom perfume. There's not much that is more spring-like than a cherry blossom perfume. Personally, I think that the L'Occitane cherry blossom is really, really reliable. It's very pretty. I have this particular flanker, Cerise Étoile. I've probably said that in a very, very strange way. But L'Occitane cherry blossom is just an absolute classic. Obviously, one of the first things you notice when spring comes around is that you get the beautiful cherry blossom trees, just really opening up the flowers and making everything smell gorgeous. I think this is just really great, and most interpretations I've smelled of this smell really good. You can also pick this up really easily, this flanker sometimes, but all different flankers of this particular range. You can pick them up really easily on eBay. I think that all the versions I've smelt of it really do retain part of that original DNA of the pillar fragrance from the Cerise range. But if you want to save a bit of money and you don't want to spend L'Occitane prices, then my alternative to this would just easily be green tea cherry blossom from Elizabeth Arden, which I do think you can still get. And obviously, I think sometimes you can get like 100 ml of that for about 10 or 15 pounds. But I just really like this one. I particularly like this flanker. It has water flowers in it, and it's got a little kind of fruity feel to it as well. But it does still have that beautiful cherry blossom, almost soapy, kind of petally fragrance. So this is a really good bet. It's really beautiful. So that's Cerise by L'Occitane. So I had to start with the cherry blossom because that is such a classic spring floral fragrance. But I think personally for me, this is my absolute smells like spring perfume. So this is Christian Dior, and this is Forever and Ever Dior. The thing with this perfume, it truly is so magical. It really smells like delicate pink and white petals in springtime. It's perfectly sweet without being sickly. It's slightly sheer smelling. It's extremely kind of classy smelling, this perfume, but it doesn't smell vintage. It's got a youthful feel about it. It's so beautiful. The notes that they actually tell you for this version, I think it's just like freesia and jasmine and rose tincture, but that's just not accurate. If you look back at the versions before it came in this bottle, they have different notes, and I can smell still that this is the same perfume. I also used to have a little mini when it used to come in like a kind of plasticky bottle when it first came out. But so they say it's got rose and almond blossom, geranium, nutmeg, musk, vanilla. I can smell all of those things. Thankfully for me, in this particular floral, the vanilla is not very strong. The musk is relatively gentle, but you can definitely sense there's a musk here. It's the slightly green notes, the spicy notes. In one of the other versions, it also lists rose hip and amber. And it's just, I feel like it's got all of those notes in still. I definitely can get a hint of almond blossom. I can get a hint of the rose hip. I can get a hint of ivy, and I can get a hint of nutmeg here. And probably the geranium's giving a slight spice too. But overall, it is just, I think, one of the most truly magical spring floral perfumes. It is quite expensive, but it is very, very beautiful. I have rarely smelt anything that truly smells like this. Strangely enough, I have a kind of sporty perfume that has a little feel of this, which is Jill Sander Sport Water for Women with the blue liquid. But I mean, a nice alternative, although it's definitely not a dupe. is Marry Me from London. It has a similar feel. It's not quite the same. It doesn't actually smell like this, but it has the same kind of feel as it. So if you're looking for something a bit more affordable, but I mean, personally, I think this is beautiful. It lasts forever on my skin, but it is subtle and it leaves a subtle kind of scent trail. Exactly the way that, you know, when you walk past Cherry Blossom, you just get that kind of gentle waft on the wind. So that's Forever and Ever Dior from Christian Dior. Next up, we have something more affordable. This is Forget Me Not. This is by Victorinox. So that's, I think, the Swiss Army people, which is interesting. But Forget Me Not, really cool coloured liquid. It does, I mean, this does suggest that it's going to be a kind of violety smell, but personally, I don't find this particularly violety. It's a really interesting scent, though, because it's listed as Forget Me Not, but Forget Me Not is an imaginary note. So I feel like there probably is a little bit of violet here. There's some hibiscus seed, there's angelica, there's a greenness and a freshness. There's definitely the bergamot's like obvious. But there is just a general spring floral smell about this. This one lasts quite well on my skin and it really creates a beautiful kind of flowery scent bubble around me. It's got a little bit of kind of sharpness and sourness, but it also has a gentle sweetness coming through. And it almost feels like there's a little breath of fresh air, if that makes sense. It's got a coolness and a coldness to it. Maybe that's why it's in it's kind of purple liquid. I almost feel like this actually could be less purple and more actually blue, like a little bit more like a blue Forget-Me-Not colour. Or like maybe a cornflower blue, and that might make a bit more sense to me. I think I was expecting this to be much more violety than it is, but I think it's gorgeous. I really like this perfume. I was really happily surprised by it. It's the one that I sprayed on my skin and I kind of walked around and I just kept getting whiffs of it and it just makes me feel like spring has sprung. So that's Forget Me Not by Victorinox. Next up is a perfume that I think might be discontinued, but I have an alternative that's easy to get hold of and I actually see quite affordably nowadays. This is Matsu, and this is from Masaki Matsushima. I've probably pronounced that terribly. But this is a perfume that came out. It came out before a Drop de Issy, but I do think a Drop de Issy smells extremely similar. Not quite the same perfume, but not far off. So this is a perfume that is lilac, wisteria, it's got musk, it's got almond, but it really, really smells like lilacs. So this, it's actually quite strong. It sticks around for ages. It's a little bit, in the same way I think Drop de Issy is, it's a little bit linear, but it really truly smells like lilacs. And this is the lilac perfume that works the best for me. I've had Drop de Issy and unfortunately the ambroxan in that one was just a little bit too much for me, so I had to get rid of it, even though, my goodness, it's a beautiful perfume. I adore that bottle, but this one ended up replacing it, and it's honestly, it's so similar. So I think you could easily get a Drop de Issy and get the same experience I get with this one. Drop de Issy also is a strong perfume. It lasts a long time. It smells almost ethereal, but it also is quite soapy, same as this one. This has a really powerful, slightly powdery lilac wisteria soap smell. The soap is probably coming from the fact that there's like almond and orange blossom and jasmine in this. So, and then there's that musk. So it really is just a kind of creamy, fresh spring lilac smell, and it's beautiful, as is Drop de Issy. Either that you can get, they're both beautiful perfumes. So yeah, that, and it comes in this crazy bottle as well. So that's Matsu from Masaki Matsushima. Very, very beautiful perfume. This next one is not for the faint of heart, but my goodness, I can't wait to break this one out again. This is probably one of the sexiest perfumes in my collection. This is Lust from Lush. It has this incredible coloured juice. I have actually worn this quite a few times, but you'd barely know because this is a very strong perfume and you do not need much of it. Overspraying this would be a mistake. And I also have the solid version of this perfume, which means if I'm not up to wearing such a strong perfume, and if you also are like me and you're a bit fussy or you're a bit scared of how powerful this one is, I have to say the solid version is gorgeous. It's really beautiful. It's a really good perfume. This is I would say, slightly indolic jasmine. It's animalic. It has a funk to it, which I find so sexy. It's a kind of sweet jasmine, but without it, but like in a natural way, like in an actual kind of genuine, real floral way. Lush is quite good at capturing that a lot of the time, a kind of natural smelling floral. And this one, I had been searching when I first bought Lust for a perfume that smelt like the jasmine that was in the back garden of my downstairs neighbour. In the evening, that smell from the jasmine would waft up through the back room window, and I was obsessed with how that smelled. I thought it was so intoxicating. I did some investigation online and I went to try Lust, and I thought it was the most beautiful, perfect encapsulation I'd ever smelled of that jasmine. And I'm very fussy about jasmine. But yeah, so it was too strong for me. So I ended up returning it, but I came back to it via the solid, and now I can wear this. I don't wear this in cold weather because the indoles for me really come out in cold weather, and I think it smells, and other people say the same thing, and it's horrible. It smells a bit like saliva in cold weather to me, but when it is warm weather, spring and coming into summer, this smells like heavenly jasmine, a hint of ylang ylang. It's got a musky scent. I also find that this one almost has a kind of mandarin-y smell in it. Oh, but it is such magic. This is a really special perfume. People say masterpiece about perfumes a lot. I think Lush has a couple of perfumes I would describe as masterpieces, and I think Lust is one of them. I have never smelt a perfume that smells like Lust. I've smelt things that maybe hint, but this is a brave perfume, and I think that you will have people following you around if you wear this. Just don't overspray it because it will become overwhelming. So that's Lust from Lush. Let's go for another affordable one. This here is from Marks and Spencer's. So I think you can maybe only get this in the UK, unfortunately, but this is called Citrus Soleil. This is from their Provence collection. This perfume used to come in a different bottle, and it was called Provence Amongst the Orange Grove, I think is what this used to be called, but it is the same perfume. This is a scent that has the feel and the kind of hint of the Love Don't Be Shy profile, but it is lighter, sheerer, not as sickly sweet, and therefore for me is a much easier wear. This one I think actually smells spring-like. It's got a holiday feel to it. This one, I do think because it is that nicely kind of orange blossom and citrus scent with that kind of sweet dry down, but this one has more of the juicy fruitiness in it than Love Don't Be Shy. It feels like a Mediterranean kind of holiday to me, like it smells like spring in, Italy or something. So yeah, I really like Citrus Soleil. I do think that this is an absolute steal. I think you can get this for around about £12. And yeah, I think it's a really recognisable profile. You can, of course, get versions of Love Don't Be Shy from all kinds of places. You can get them really sweet, not too sweet. You can get all different kind of versions of it. But this is the one that I just decided to keep in my collection because I just think this is a really easy wear and it's such a good price. And, if you're in the UK, it's so easy to get it from Marks and Sparks. It's just absolutely beautiful. So that's Citrus Soleil from Marks and Spencer's. Let's talk about another one of these little Création de Monsieur Dior's. This is Diorissimo, and this one is a Lily of the Valley perfume. So I have to absolutely put my hands up and say I don't normally like Lily of the Valley perfumes. I find that maybe it's just because Lily of the Valley isn't one of my favourite florals. Maybe it's because there's a part of my head that makes me think that most Lily of the Valleys I smell tend to smell a little bit dated, I often find them too sharp, a little bit screechy. Diorissimo, though, is, to my nose and to my tastes, the perfect version of Lily of the Valley. I think what saves this one from going into that kind of screechy, slightly vintage, old-fashioned Lily of the Valley scent is it's not too green and it has a ylang ylang note in it. So this is the Eau de Toilette. I don't think you can get the Eau de Parfum version of this anymore. I imagine, again, that as with Forever and Ever Dior, there are probably way more notes in this that are actually listed nowadays. So I mean, if I look back at the old and original version, it's got Lily of the Valley, it's got lilac, jasmine, rosemary, boreanus, civet, sandalwood. There's a lot going on, I would imagine, in this. But essentially, I'm getting a perfectly balanced, not too green, not too sharp Lily of the Valley with a little hint in the dry down of that ylang ylang. And I don't feel like I will ever need another Lily of the Valley perfume. I probably only wear this like once a year at around springtime. It lasts for a decent amount of time. It's kind of the same actually as Forever and Ever Dior in that it lasts quite well, but it's not a huge scent bubble. It's a subtle, spring-like, gentle floral, and it's gorgeous. What I will say though is if I didn't have this, the thing that I would have is the Kenzo Parfum d'été. That one, it comes in the most amazing bottle that's shaped like a leaf. It's beautiful. Parfum d'été has quite a similar Lily of the Valley note. It's got a little bit of a green note. It's got a slight musky feel to it. So it's very, very similar, but instead of the ylang, it has a hyacinth note. So it takes it a little bit more into the crisper florals rather than this one that I think is slightly warmer, but they are very, very similar. And I really did enjoy the Kenzo, but I just felt like I didn't need it because I have this. This is my favourite, but definitely if you want a more affordable alternative, because you can get Parfum d'été nowadays for a decent price, whereas these are obviously much more expensive. But yeah, I think Diorissimo is absolutely the best Lily of the Valley I've smelt. If you want to feel like you're running through a field of yellow flowers, Belle de Grace from Fragonard is the perfume for you. This particular scent has one of the most magical scent bubbles I've ever experienced. It does open in what I would consider to be a slightly challenging way, because it starts off with like a violet leaf and it's a very green note, and it has a lot of greenness from mimosa, because this essentially is a powdery mimosa like fragrance. But once it dries down, it gets sweeter and just it's so pretty. This truly smells like the perfume equivalent of a floaty floral tea dress. It is extremely feminine, extremely beautiful. There is a ton of mimosa in this, but adding to that powdery quality, you also have lilac and heliotrope on top of some musk. So it's really, really special. And I have to say, whenever I first spray it, I'm almost like, oh, it really has got a kind of plant-like smell at first. And then it starts to dry down, and what you're getting is just a truly, truly magical yellow, powdery, mimosa-y floral. And it's the most wonderful spring scent. It really, really is quite special, this one, and it's super affordable. In the UK you can get this, obviously you can get it online, but you can also get it in Marks and Spencer's, and you can test it in Marks and Spencer's. So this is a really good one to go and have a sniff on, and I would say spray it on your skin, walk away, let it dry down, let it develop into the sweetest version of itself, and then decide if it's for you. Because I do think that green and kind of plant stem like opening can be a little bit of a challenge, but it really does turn into something extremely magical. So that's Fragonard Belle de Grace. Next up we have a super affordable perfume. This is W. It's kind of a difficult shape to hold. It's really cool, but so this is W by Ted Baker. This used to come with pink liquid. This one now is clear with this big W on it. And I have to say, They both have different notes listed, but they both smell almost identical. So I assume that this perfume and the old version of the perfume are pretty much both exactly the same notes. This one lists peony and jasmine and a bunch of florals basically. And the old one lists raspberry, fig leaf and violet. And I think really essentially what this smells like, the old version with the pink liquid, I think is a little bit more violety. This one just smells like a bunch of random flowers, and it kind of smells like a delicious fruity floral shampoo without being screechy the way that some shampooy perfumes are. It's light, it's sheer. It really does, again, give you that feel of petals wafting in the breeze. And it's a really, really easy reach as far as I'm concerned. I think that this is a really good one that will make you smell like you've just washed your hair and had a lovely shower and you've come out just smelling absolutely feminine, pretty, beautiful and spring-like. So yeah, Ted Baker W. I really like both versions. The pink one definitely has a little bit more of that violety feel, and this one is a little bit less violety, but essentially they are pretty much the same scent. So you can get either version and it's going to be like a beautiful fruity floral, you know, herbal essences style kind of smell. So that's W from Ted Baker. So the last of the 10 perfumes is Classique Eau de Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier. This is a beautiful, sexy perfume. This is sultry. It's a little bit more on the mature side than Lust, for instance, but I do think that out of this bunch of perfumes, Lust and Classique Eau de Parfum are definitely the sexiest florals. So I do get some of the original Classique here. So that's that kind of orange blossom and ginger and a little bit of vanilla. You've got like star anise, it's musky. I mean, that one, the original, is kind of soapy, and I don't find this one quite as soapy. But this one is quite powdery. It's much sweeter, and personally I find it lighter, it's kind of softer and easier to wear. The notes listed for the Eau de Parfum don't include some of the notes that are in the original, but as I said, the DNA is still here. However, this has rum, it has rose, it's got narcissus and orchid. There's definitely like tonka bean and vanilla in the base, which is helping to make this really kind of sweet and a little bit powdery. And there's the sandalwood. I do get quite a lot of narcissus here. If you know what Poem from Lancôme smells like, I feel like this almost feels like a much more modern, sexy version of that kind of scent. It's not quite as strong, it's not quite as thick smelling as Poem, but it does share that narcissy scent that you get in Poem. I would also like to say that this doesn't list having ginger, but my goodness, this smells like ginger ale to me. When I first spray this, I get ginger ale on top of that kind of Classique smell, but with that extra sweetness. And then the more it dries down, the more it kind of morphs into its own take on the original Classique DNA. But I never quite lose that ginger ale smell that I get with this, and it is just so pretty. Now, be warned, when you first spray this on, it doesn't smell strong. You have to leave it on your skin to develop. So try not to overspray it at first anyway, and leave it for a moment to see how you do with it, because I think this is really, really easy to overspray, because as it develops on your skin, it gets stronger and stronger, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself because it is quite a sweet and powdery perfume. But yeah, this is just absolutely magical, and you know, I find myself sexy in this perfume. So yeah, this is Classique Eau de Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier. This last one is an honourable mention just because it was never really released worldwide. It was very limited edition. It's not necessarily easy to find. But in the UK, you can get this from a company called Hoagie's. And I do think it's pretty beautiful, so I just wanted to mention it. This is Mon Guerlain L'Essence, and it's pretty much just exactly what you would think it is. The original Mon Guerlain, it's got the lavender, it's got the sweet vanilla tonka, but this one has a frangipani note in it. So it also has some buttery florals in it, which I think take this into a slightly beachy version of Mon Guerlain. It's super beautiful. I really, really like this one. If you can find it, I think it's definitely worth having a look, you know, having a try, if you're willing to spend the money, obviously, on a blind buy, because you can't get samples of this. But I really wanted to recommend this one if you can get hold of it, because I do think that this is a kind of spring summery take, while still smelling like the original Mon Guerlain. It's really, really beautiful. So that is Mon Guerlain La Essence, and that is the last perfume I'm going to talk about today. So please do let me know what you're going to wear for spring. Let me know what your favourite spring floral is. Let me know if you've got any of these, and thank you so much for watching my videos. Please do subscribe if you want to. It really helps my channel. And to those of you who are already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting my channel. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. See you soon with another video. Bye guys.